Bilingual Education and Introduction. Now we move on to the side of education and look at the different trends in terms of bilingual education. We'll touch upon topics like what is bilingual education? You might think it is quite simple, but it is not that simple. We will be looking at what are the pluralistic understandings of bilingual education. We'll be focusing more on this pluralistic understanding of bilingual education rather than one definition of bilingual education. And throughout, when we are talking about bilingual education, we'll try to see it within the perspective of 21st century skills that children need to go in future. So while what we were doing before was linked to what was happening before, now we move on to a more futuristic stance towards bilingual education, and we see how bilingualism affects education, what does it lead to, and what do we really need it, and what are its implications. We will have two scenarios. We'll work with these two scenarios, one in the US and the other in Japan. And we are talking about these schools because both of them are bilingual. We will also briefly touch upon the socio-historical positioning of bilingualism and how certain ideologies emerge from this socio-historical positioning, and how do these ideologies affect bilingual education or the form of bilingual education that is taking place. Similarly, taking this a little further, we will discuss what monoglossic ideologies are. We'll compare them with heteroglossic ideologies, not in too much detail, but still it is important to understand what kind of ideologies do lead to certain kinds of practices in a bilingual education system. And then there is this question we'll revisit: is bilingualism itself, does it mean having two discrete systems, or does it mean something more? So we are going to address this question now in terms of bilingual education. Does bilingual education mean just putting together two languages, or does it demand something more for better output? We will also compare bilingual education from second language or foreign language classrooms. They are different. Yes, they are different, but then they are also similar in certain aspects. So we'll try to do a comparison of these two so that we are very clear about what do we mean by bilingual education and what is the goal of bilingual education and how does it compare with language education also.